Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to be discussing CGE and the Harry Potter drama controversy. And it's another hard one, and let's just dive in. I'm trying to do these videos a little different. I just took notes and I'm going to try and talk freely with as minimal editing as I can, because I want to get better at this type of videos. And it's a shame that sometimes I can't really express myself that well. It's not a thing I'm used to. English is not my first language, and still going to try and do the best I can to express my opinion and feelings on this and try to get you a bit of the facts. Anyway, and I'm not even going to focus on specifically Harry Potter and CGE that much, because that's not the point of this. But should the companies be doing Harry Potter games? No, they should not. Should we be consuming Harry Potter related stuff? No, we should not. I was a big Harry Potter fan, probably still am. I read all their books when I was young. I loved it so much that I actually got the last books in English, which was really hard to me to read at the time. I was such a fanatic that I didn't even like the movies that much because they were not as good as the books. But the thing is, and I'm an hypocrite. I'm not throwing away my books. I'm not throwing away my CGE games. Thankfully, I don't have any Harry Potter games. But that's because I'm an hypocrite. But the truth is, from now on, and it's been that way for a couple of years already, I'm never, ever going to spend any money on anything related to Harry Potter. And that's important. And it's only really important if we all do it, but it's important. So, should CGE be publishing Harry Potter games? No. And I'm going to dive into more detail, but should CGE... Is it fair that CGE is taking all this hate when we have not really, as a community, as a board game community, said anything about all the other Harry Potter games or anything about all the sponsored content for Harry Potter games in the last years? No, it's not fair. CGE shouldn't be specifically targeted for this, but it's a good first step, and we should not stop there. We should have a standard, and that standard should be to boycott Harry Potter, and every company that is doing like the new Harry Potter show, anything related to Harry Potter, games related to Harry Potter in our hobby, we should actively send an email to that company and say that it's shameful that they're doing this, it's sad that they're doing this, and that as a company it makes us less wanting to buy any of their products because we know we are financing something horrible. So let's try and dive a bit, and I'm really sorry if I'm not doing this subject justice. As I said, I'm not the best person to talk about this, but let's go. So, this is a fact, it's a well-known fact, and she speaks out for herself. J.K. Rowling is a transphobic, okay? She's someone that, for a lot of years now, has publicly made all of her personality, 90% of it, or at least what she shows public, what she talks about on Twitter, she's made it that it's 100% almost about fighting trans people and being bad to trans people. And she does this basically by two ways. One is she uses her money, she's a billionaire, she has a lot of money, and she uses her money to actively fight with causes to lower trans people rights. And that's awful. Imagine you yourself living in a world where you have certain rights and you are equal to other people, and having your rights being taken away. Transphobic and this whole problem is something that has only been spoken about publicly now, or more recently, that we are only as people in the world only maybe starting to be more aware now compared to other problems. But imagine this in other problems. Imagine someone actively fighting and spending money to try to, for example, revoke black people's rights, to make it as it was before in some places like the USA when they were slaves. Imagine someone actively fighting that, to make black people being treated differently from everybody else. Imagine someone fighting today to make Jews have less rights like it was in Nazi Germany. Imagine that. That's what's happening with trans people right now. And somehow people are able to do this. And somehow even crazier, people support this. Now, the other way she does this is that apart from spending money to try to lower people's rights, she actively puts trans people in harm's way. And not just psychological harm, but physical harm. And what she does, apart from spending money on these causes to try to take their rights away and make life worse for them and more miserable and more dangerous, she has a lot of followers. You know, she's Harry Potter's author. She has a lot of people that follow her. And she tries to actively get her followers to engage in activities against trans people. She, for example, calls out her followers to go to bathrooms and take photos of people in bathrooms and expose them. And you know that some of these people are probably going to engage in violence. She basically spreads hate, and she makes it more probable that more people will engage in violence and make trans people feel bad and be in harm's way. You know, if you have trouble, I know there's lots of people that agree with her and are not going to understand this, but imagine the same thing, for example, a recent well-known movie. Imagine the movie Get Out, where they make a good job, I hope, of making people that are not black maybe understand a little bit of what it's like to be a black person in a certain situation and context where you're fearful. You're fearful because of you're black, where active danger could be against you. And that's what they try to do in that movie. They have a black person in a situation where if it was a white person, nothing. That tension, that fear would not be there. So imagine someone actively doing that to you. That's what she's trying to do with her followers, to trans people. So going forward, why does she do this? As most people that do this, there are people that do this that are actively bad people and evil people. I have no idea. No one can enter someone else's mind and understand everything. But she supposedly does this because she's a feminist. Feminism is about equality. And what she's actively doing is that she's so unhinged, she's so crazy that she's actually causing harm not only to trans people but to women in general. That's how unhinged, how crazy she is. Because trans people are not coming for you. Trans people are not afraid. Anytime you're trying to generalize a whole group of people into something, it's completely stupid, completely nonsensical, and anyone who takes some time to think about it can certainly reach that conclusion. And the reasons she does this fear against trans people, this transphobia, is based on bogus science that has been disproved for years, that no scientist, no actual doctor, no standard consensus of humanity in the world follows. That has been disproved and fact-checked for years now. And it's based on that bogus science and misinformation only. And that's I said, feminism is about equality. It's not about hurting people. It's not about taking rights away, making people miserable. It's not about anything like that. So as I said, she's doing this in such a way that is so crazy, so dumb, so unhinged that she's actually causing harm to women. And I'm not going to go super in depth, but I'm going just to give you a recent example with the Olympics and the boxer named, I hope I'm not butchering a name, but Iman Khalif, that was talked a lot about in the news and especially in the transphobic circles, because she won a medal and she's a woman. She was born a woman. Because of all of this craziness, she was made to do tests that prove she's a woman. But because of all this craziness, J.K. Rowling and even Elon Musk and all the other famous rich transphobics that actively spend money and resources on this, they attacked her. They made her life worse. They make her be in danger. And why? Because she doesn't conform to their beauty standards, to what it means to be a woman for them. they say things like it's really simple. You're either born a woman or you're not. But it's not that simple. Not when you're crazy, when you're looking into bogus science and misinformation, because this person is a woman, and because she doesn't look feminine, and maybe because she's not white, she was attacked, she was made not to compete, she was made to be questioned, her life was... And she comes from a country where it's worse than here, where being like that actually puts you in danger of being killed or being imprisoned, and she had to grow through that, even though she wasn't even a trans person. If she was, it would be of course wrong, but even not being it, she was put in danger by people like J.K. Rowling. And it's funny how this has been happening mostly to colored people, and I'm not saying there's a direct connection, but ever since the onset or beginning of white supremacy from Europe, that there was a lot of bogus science that has been disproved for a long time, where white people were superior. And one of the things that they pushed at the time is that the unique differentiation in sex was something uniquely evolved for white people. That's what they said. That was what they had in science articles. That colored people didn't have that differentiation, that colored people were not civilized, didn't have, that female colored people had masculine traits because they were not feminine, they were not civilized, you know, a lot of crazy bullshit. And it's funny how something like that seems so crazy, and I'm not saying it's directly connected, but it's crazy that still today that's happening. And when it happens, it's never to white women. So it's crazy how it seems to steer from that, to the same science that the Nazis believed in. It's crazy that's still happening today. So after all of this, there's a lot of videos and articles that go more in depth with this, with people that truly understand this better than me, that can give you the correct resources and articles and the science and the news, all from good sources, like sources that can be believed, that have actual articles that are not conspiracy theories and bogus science. But the bottom line is this. And I'm sorry that I said that I'm just going to try and make a video, you know, a continuous video talking about it after taking notes when there's obviously cuts. But the truth is, my smartphone can only film in 4K for like 8 minutes and then it stops. So I have to, before get up, stop the recording and restart it. And if I don't do that in 8 minutes, I just am here not being recorded, not knowing. Anyway, that's besides the video. If you want to help me, you know, do what you already know you can do, and just try and support me, so one day maybe I win money from this, I earn money from this, and I can actually get a proper camera. But anyway, this is all besides the point. The bottom line, as I was saying, is that for years J.K. Rowling has done nothing publicly but spending money and trying to convince people to fight trans people, to make life worse for them, to make them fearful from being in the street, to going to a public restroom. Can you see how crazy that is? And she has publicly said that all the money she earns from Harry Potter, for anything related to Harry Potter, will be used for that. So that's the bottom line. I understand that you might like Harry Potter as a book, as something, but there's tons of books, tons of movies, tons of franchises that are as good or better that you can discover and you can get into. The same with board games. So do you really think it's worth to spend money on something when you can be perfectly happy just spending money on something else, on another game, another book? Because if you're doing this, if you're spending money on this, you're actively helping, financing someone who fights and tries to make people's life worse, sometimes get physically harmed, sometimes get killed, you know, destroy their lives, make a world that is a place of fear for them. Do you want to actively finance that? Is that the type of person you are? And I know we are all hypocrites in some way. We all participate in lots of bad stuff. We don't mind buying cheap products from China, even though we know that maybe we are participating in slavery. the animal suffering thing. We all are all hypocrites. There's very few people who manage to live a life where you're not doing that in any way. But the whole thing with Harry Potter and trans people, it seems like such a low barrier, something so easy to just push aside and not to do that. It doesn't mean you have to change your life in any way. Just don't spend money on Harry Potter. Don't finance that. Like from all the steps you can do on anything in the world to try and make it a better place, this is probably the easiest one you can do. So think about that. So what else? And again, I've already talked about this in the other video, but anyone with a platform, be it YouTubers, be it anything else, when you don't take a stance on this and you say that you're somewhere in the middle, don't do that bullshit. Take a stance. Are you okay with people making money to help finance the fear and harm to others? No, just be on the damn side, be on the correct side. Because right now in the present, when we look back, most people know that being a Nazi was wrong. They know that enslaving black people is wrong. How is it so hard that you can't, in the present, right now, understand that the problem with trans people is the exact same? That people that are on that side are wrong. That in the future, our children, our nephews, whatever, will be looking back and it will be clear who was on the right side and was on the bad side. And not only to that, but to all the people, again, YouTubers, influencers that say nothing, that use that argument of let's just keep it about the games. No, your silence, even like the biggest ones, like Dice Tower, who choose to not engage with this at all. I'm not saying you have to do a video where you take a political stance and do something crazy, but just say this is happening and this is wrong. Because if you truly care about board games and the people that play them and the hobby as a whole, you have to stand for this. If you are silent, you are complicit and you are actually helping these people along. That's what you're doing. So just take a stance and don't care if you're going to lose a few followers or something. That's just crazy. It's like if you were able to do a true survey and understand like 2% of your people that watch you are Nazis, does that mean you're going to stop saying that being a Nazi is wrong because you're afraid of losing those people? Be real. Be real. Are you really happy? Do you really need that 2% money? Is that what's going to make a difference? Come on. So again, anything related to transphobia, related to racism, even related to war crimes, like not only what is happening in Gaza, but to any war that happens anywhere in the world, we have to stand for something. I'm not saying you have to go in the street and protest, but at least say something. At least take a stance and let your people know, because you are in a position where you can actually do good. You can actually make some people that are unaware learn about this. Because the more the word spreads, the better it gets. The more the good word spreads. So just take your stance. Don't be silent. Don't be complicit. And even what's happening with in the US right now, where it's slowly becoming like Nazi Germany, it's like becoming like a dictatorship, like any one of them. I just keep mentioning Nazi Germany because it's the one we have studied the most, we are more aware the most, so it's the easier comparison to do. But take a stance, because why do you think the guys at Spills de Jars talked about this? It's not just because they are super worried about the world. I'm not saying they are not, but the reason is that even if you just want it to be about the board games, these things actually destroy the hobby. Do you think that if the world was a dictatorship, do you think if Nazi Germany won and would be living under it now, do you think that board games would have flourished as they have? Do you really think that? No, it wouldn't. There's even science proving that by killing people, by making people live in fear, by destroying minorities, we actually destroy everything else around it. The world doesn't become a better place for anyone else. Quite on the contrary. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I hope I did a better job than in the video I released the other day, because I don't know, when I look back, it just always feels really weird that I didn't really express myself well or say what I really thought I should be saying in the best way. Also, English not being my first language, there's always tons of stuff that I don't use the correct words, that I misspell grammar, that I fuck up, and yeah, that always feels bad. So I hope I did a better job now. And again, bottom line, try and be a little mindful, and if there's small steps you can do to help people, to help anyone, just do them. Just do stuff with empathy. And yeah, Harry Potter is one way you can help, and by not engaging with it, not spending your money in it, no, not engaging, but by not spending your money with it, and maybe actively telling the people that you feel that it's really bad that they are doing business with this. Send them an email, do something. And that's it. And as always, I hope you enjoyed this video, that it helps you somehow. And as always, play more games and stay awesome, because that's what you're here for. And it would be awesome if we didn't have to spend time just dealing with all this bullshit. So again,